The maternity wing of Al Noor Hospital was unusually quiet that afternoon, the kind of silence that made every sound feel louder than it should. The slow beep of a heart monitor echoed through room 307 as Aisha lay on the narrow bed, her body heavy, her breathing shallow. One hand rested protectively over her swollen belly, feeling the faint, reassuring flutter of her unborn child. She had been alone for hours. Cameron had promised to return after settling a work emergency, but the minutes stretched painfully. Anxiety curled in her chest as a sharp cramp tightened her lower back. She pressed the call button, but before anyone arrived, the door flew open. The sharp click of high heels shattered the calm. Aisha turned her head just as a woman stepped inside, tall, impeccably dressed, her lipstick flawless despite the fury burning in her eyes. Sarah. She didn't smile. She didn't hesitate. She slammed the door shut behind her. "So this is where you're hiding," Sarah said coldly, her gaze dropping to Aisha's stomach. Aisha tried to sit up. "You shouldn't be here." Sarah laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You stole my life," she snapped, moving closer. "You stole him, and now you think a baby will protect you." Her hand struck the IV stand, sending it rattling into the wall. The sudden noise startled Aisha, and pain shot through her abdomen. She cried out, instinctively curling inward. "Please," Aisha whispered, "I'm pregnant." "That never stopped anyone from lying," Sarah hissed, gripping Aisha's wrist. Her nails dug into skin. "You don't even know who the father is," Aisha screamed. The door burst open as nurses rushed in, alarms blaring. Sarah was pulled away, still shouting, still fighting, her voice echoing down the hallway. No one noticed the distinguished older man standing just outside the room, his face pale, his hands trembling as he stared at Aisha's terrified face, recognition dawning in his eyes. He turned and walked away, carrying a secret that would shatter them all. The chaos settled slowly, like dust after an explosion. Nurses moved in practiced urgency, straightening tangled wires, checking monitors, whispering reassurances that barely reached Aisha's ears. Her body trembled uncontrollably, not from pain alone, but from fear. Every small movement inside her womb felt like a question she was terrified to answer. "Deep breaths, Aisha," the nurse said gently, adjusting the fetal monitor. A sharp, rhythmic sound filled the room. The baby's heartbeat, fast, but alive. Aisha let out a shaky sob, tears soaking into the pillow. Her wrist throbbed where Sarah's nails had cut into her skin, but the ache in her chest was far worse. She stared at the door, half expecting it to burst open again. Hours later, night fell. Cameron arrived quietly, his footsteps hesitant, as if he were unsure he still belonged there. He stopped just inside the room, taking in the scene, the bruising on Aisha's arm, the IV line, the faint red mark across her wrist. His jaw tightened. "What happened?" he asked, though he already knew. Aisha swallowed. "She attacked me." Cameron sat down slowly, running a hand through his hair. His silence stretched, thick and suffocating. Finally, he spoke, his voice low. "She said the baby isn't mine." The words hit harder than Sarah's grip ever had. Aisha pushed herself upright, wincing. "Look at me," she said. When Cameron met her eyes, she continued, her voice trembling but firm. "I have never lied to you. Not once." Cameron looked away, pain flickering across his face. Doubt had slipped into his mind like poison, uninvited, unstoppable. He wanted to believe her. He needed to. But Sarah's certainty echoed in his head. Outside the room, the senior doctor stood with a security guard. "That woman," the guard said, shaking his head. "She wasn't just angry," the doctor replied quietly. "She was terrified." Down the hall, Sarah sat alone in a stark white room, her fury finally spent. Her hands shook as she stared at them, replaying the moment over and over. Something about the pregnant woman's face had felt familiar. And somewhere in the hospital, the well-dressed older man made a phone call, his voice tight with urgency. "It's her," he said. "And the child may already be in danger." The truth was closing in. Morning light filtered through the hospital blinds, pale and unforgiving. Aisha had not slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt Sarah's grip again, heard her voice accusing, certain, cruel. Cameron sat beside the bed, untouched tea growing cold in his hands. Neither of them spoke. Words felt dangerous now. A soft knock broke the silence. The senior doctor entered, his expression careful. "There is someone requesting to see you," he said. "He insists it's important." Before Cameron could respond, the man from the hallway stepped inside. He was in his early 60s, dressed simply but expensively, his posture straight despite the heaviness in his eyes. He looked first at Aisha, too long, then at her stomach. His hands trembled slightly. "My name is Ahmed Shah," he said. "I owe you an explanation." Cameron stood. "We're not receiving visitors." Ahmed raised a hand. "I understand, but what I'm about to say concerns that child." Aisha felt her chest tighten. "How do you know about my child?" Ahmed exhaled slowly, as if bracing himself. "Because I recognized you yesterday. Not your face, but your mother's." Aisha froze. "Years ago," Ahmed continued, "I had a son. He fell in love with a woman our family rejected. She disappeared before I could stop it." His eyes glistened. "That woman was your mother." The room went silent. Cameron's breath caught. "You're saying," "I am saying," Ahmed interrupted gently, "that the child you're carrying is my blood." Aisha's hands shook. Pieces of her past, her mother's silence, the unnamed father, the faded photograph, suddenly aligned into something terrifyingly real. "And Sarah?" Cameron asked. Ahmed's face hardened. "She is my daughter too. But she was never told the truth." The weight of it crashed down all at once. Elsewhere in the hospital, Sarah sat alone, staring at her reflection in a darkened window. For the first time, anger had abandoned her, replaced by unease. A question she had never dared ask whispered in her mind. What if I was wrong? And what if she had already done something unforgivable? The hospital conference room felt colder than the rest of the building. White walls, fluorescent lights. Truth had a way of making places like this unbearable. Aisha sat quietly, her hands folded over her belly, while Cameron stood close, protective now in a way that felt different, steadier. Sarah was brought in last. She looked nothing like the woman who had stormed into the maternity ward. Her shoulders were slumped, her eyes hollow, makeup smudged from hours of crying. When she saw Ahmed Shah, she froze. "You," she whispered, "you're the man from the hallway." Ahmed nodded once. "Yes. Why am I here?" Sarah snapped weakly. "If this is about yesterday, I said I was sorry." "This is about who you are," Ahmed replied calmly. The doctor placed a sealed envelope on the table. "The DNA results were expedited due to the assault," he said. "They confirm biological relationships." Sarah laughed nervously. "This is ridiculous." Ahmed's voice broke. "You and Aisha share the same father." The room went silent. Sarah's breath hitched. "No," she whispered. "You're lying." "I lied for years," Ahmed said. "But not about this." The color drained from Sarah's face as the words sank in. Memories twisted. Why Aisha's face felt familiar. Why the rage had felt so personal, so uncontrollable. Her knees buckled, and she sank into the chair. "I attacked my own sister," she murmured. Aisha closed her eyes, tears slipping free. Not from anger, but from grief. A family broken long before any of them had a choice. Charges were quietly dropped, but consequences were unavoidable. Sarah chose to leave the city, unable to live with the damage she had caused. Ahmed Shah publicly acknowledged both daughters, surrendering his reputation to reclaim his conscience. Weeks later, in the soft glow of a hospital nursery, Aisha gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Cameron held his daughter for the first time, awe replacing every doubt he'd carried. Ahmed stood at a distance, watching, not as a powerful man, but as a grandfather seeking redemption. Some truths arrive too late. But they arrive all the same.